So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day so far. In today's video guys, we do have some custom tactics and player instructions for the 4-3-3 fourth variation to help you guys out during Team of the Year. Just before we get into the video though guys, I would very much appreciate it if you could drop this video a thumbs up, as it does really help me out with the YouTube search algorithm. And also be sure to comment down below if you guys have packed a Team of the Year yet or not, and if so, how many packs it has taken you. Just really interested to see, you know, what's going on with you guys, and obviously boost this video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get into it. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Alrighty then guys, so starting off with the custom tactics for the defensive style. As always guys, by now if you've watched the videos, you'll know I like balance quite a lot. The reason I like balanced is because it does give me the best control over my defense. So if I want to be super aggressive and press my opponent, I can, and then if I want to drop off and then be a little bit more passive, I can also do that. So balance is really good for me. I really like it, but you guys might not, and that's okay, and you can use something else, so don't worry, but I prefer balance. Now for the defensive width guys, I have this on 45. The reason being is primarily you want to have a nice narrow and compact defense to block out all those attacks through the middle. You don't want your opponent to just run right through the middle of you, so 45 width is good as it blocks out all those central areas, but at the same time you also have good natural width because it's still not too narrow to cover the wider areas in case an opponent goes down the wing, which, let's be real guys, everybody does that. So it's important to at least have like a pretty decent width. You don't want to go all the way down in like the 20s for example, but yeah, this is the sweet spot for me at the moment. Now moving on to the depth guys, I actually have this on 55 at the moment. The reason being is I was getting caught out a lot with the 60 depth, and that was not good, so I just lowered it by 5 and it's been a little bit better for me. Honestly, depth is really like a preference thing. If you want to use 60 depth for example, you can, or if you want to do what a lot of people are doing at the moment with the 71 depth thing, you can also do that. So 71 depth, you do get that automatic press from the AI, but me personally, I'm just not a big fan of it, so I'm just using my own thing at the moment, but you guys don't have to copy that if you don't want to. Moving on to the build-up play guys, I have this on balance. The reason I have it on balance is because I find it to be the most consistent and varied form of build-up. So when you use balance, you can pick and choose when and where you use each style of build-up. So if you want to build up slowly for example, you can, and then if you want to speed up and play a little bit faster, you can also do that. So balance just gives you a lot more variety, which is why I like it so much guys, but again, you can use whatever you want. Moving on to the chance creation guys, this one's an absolute must in my opinion. We have this on direct passing. Now the reason direct passing is so important is because it's the only setting which will allow you to break through the park the bus defenses which people like to use. So when you use direct passing, your attackers will commit these runs, the defender will follow that run, and then once the defender has overcommitted, the attacker will then track back so you can cut back to them. So it's a very overpowered tactic. Your attackers also like to bunch up against the opposition defenders, meaning it's easier to isolate a specific player and take them on in a 1v1 play. So although this style is a little bit boring, it is very effective and I do recommend it. Moving on to the width guys. Now I'm not usually a big fan of having a wider width or a higher width even, but in this game I think it's very important to use a higher width because, you know, attacking through the middle is very unreliable. It can be very difficult, especially when people are using that 71 depth, so a lot of the time you do have to go down the wing, plus this is a wider formation anyway, so a higher width has just been a lot more effective in this game, and that is why a lot of people are using 4-3-3s and things like that, because going through the middle is fairly useless, so a lot of the time you do just have to go down the wings, which is why these formations are so good. So 62 width has been pretty good for me. I have to be honest, I'm not always a big fan of the higher widths, but you know, there's no denying how effective they are. I just find them a little bit boring, but they do work. Moving on to the players in the box guys, I have this on 5. This is so we can get a few players into the box of course, but we don't overcommit our entire team. And then for the corners and the free kicks guys, I have these both on 1, but this is just a preference thing. You guys can do whatever you want with that. Now moving on to the player instructions guys, on the striker we have him on stay central and mixed attack. We have him on stay central because we don't really need him drifting out into the wider areas. We've already got wingers to cover those spaces, so it's important that he stays in the middle, especially since it is a one striker formation, so we always have that player that is in the central positions ready to finish off our chances. I also have him on mixed attack as opposed to getting behind because I find it much easier to build up with mixed attack, especially in a one striker formation like this. I feel like it's just a lot more effective and it's not as one-dimensional. That being said, if you want to use getting behind because you prefer that, go ahead. That is absolutely fine to do. Now, moving on to both of the wingers, guys. I'm not usually a big fan of this with like these types of formations, but we do have both of the wingers on comeback on defense to make it defend in a 4-man midfield. This means we'll be really, really compact, really solid defensively, and we'll also have good coverage of both the narrow and the wider areas because of the 2 centre mids and then the 2 wide mids. So comeback on defense, although it does sacrifice a bit of your attacking ability, does make you very, very solid and hard to beat. So it is a really good instruction to have in this game, which is why we're using it at the moment. We also have them on cut inside because I think it's a really good attacking AI movement. Basically, the attackers will often start out really wide and then they'll make this like angled run into the more narrow spaces, which is really difficult for the AI to mark, and it gets you a lot of chances. So this instruction is really good in my opinion. We also have these players on getting behind, so they do utilize their pace because they are wingers to obviously get in behind, which is really useful because a lot of people do use those high defensive lines, and then get into the box across so these players don't hesitate to get into the penalty area and help you out there. So these are the instructions that we use for the wingers, guys. For the cam, we just have him on get into the box across. Don't really want to restrict the cam all that much. The only important thing is popping him on that get into the box across instruction so he is not hesitant to get into the penalty area. That way, you've always got the cam there ready to finish off a chances if he gets the scraps, for example. So, really useful instruction, but we don't change anything else. For the left centre mid, guys, the more defensive-minded midfielder in my case, we have him on stay back while attacking and cover centre. We have him on stay back because, like I said, he is more defensive-minded, so we don't want this player flying forward. We want him to stay back. We want him to be that anchor. And then we have him on cover centre, so he does primarily cover those central areas, as we don't need him to cover the wing, as we've got the left winger and the right winger coming back to cover those areas. Now, for the right centre mid, guys, I use a more box-to-box style midfielder. So on this player, I leave them on the default settings and then just pop them on cover centre. We leave them on the default settings because we do want this player to have a bit of freedom. We don't want to restrict them to just defending or attacking. We kind of just let them do whatever they want to do. The only important thing is that we pop them on this cover centre instruction so that they primarily cover those central areas like the other centre mid, as we don't need them to cover the wing, as we've just discussed. For the wing backs, guys, or the fullbacks, sorry, I always get these mixed up. The fullbacks, your more attacking minded fullback, just have them on balanced attack, in my opinion. Gives you an extra option when you're going forward. You know, some people like to pop this on overlap, but I don't think it's that good with this formation because it already has pretty good width a lot of the time. So I prefer mixed attack because sometimes those wingers will cut inside and then this fullback will overlap, and then sometimes the wingers will stay quite wide, so you'll want him to make the inverted run. So that's why I prefer mixed attack. So just pop your more attacking minded fullback on balanced attack, doesn't matter which one, and then the other fullback, just have them on stay back while attacking, so you always have at least 3 defenders back at a time. For the 2 centre backs, guys, I leave them alone, of course. You don't need to touch them. And then the keeper, you can pop them on comes crosses and sweeper keeper if you would like, but I just leave them both on balanced. But yeah, guys, they are the tactics for the 4-3-3. If you guys have enjoyed or found this video useful, please be sure to drop it a like. It does really, really help me out. Also, sub to the channel, of course, if you're not already, and then don't forget to turn on those notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.